Yes, lads, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another Premier League review. Crazy weekend of action in terms of the Premier League. We saw so many last-minute goals, a few unexpected results too, and I do think we are going to see a couple of managers either get sacked or walk in the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be a very, very interesting time leading up to that October international break. But before we get into the action, of course, I decided to do a point system. So I predicted all of the games in my Premier League preview. And if I got the correct scoreline, that's 3 points. If I got the actual just right result, that's 1 point. If I didn't get it, of course, that's no points. So we're going to see how many points I did get for this weekend's action. That will be the high score and we'll look to beat it next week. And I got 2 points. Which is just, it's absolutely diabolical. I'll be honest. I'm not proud of it. 2 points, we'll go again and we'll try and beat that high score. It's just, I think there was just a few curveballs this weekend. We'll go with that. But without further ado, let's get into this weekend's action, starting with Brentford up against Manchester United. Final score on this one, it was 3-1 to Brentford. I went for 2-1 to Manchester United. I thought they'd build on that Chelsea performance because they played well against Chelsea. I don't understand how this team struggles so much in certain games. Igor Thiago, 2 goals for him, one of them an absolute stunner as well. So he is very much settling in to life at Brentford after a bit of a disrupted time before this season. Jensen did finish them off in the 90th minute, a lovely strike from him too. But the main talking points are Manchester United. So Bruno Fernandes missed a penalty again this season. So frustrating to watch when you've got Brian Mbeumo on the pitch as well, who takes a very solid penalty. Fernandes, that's got to be his last penalty for United for the time being, surely, because it was just an awful penalty as well. Manchester United missed a few chances, but never really looked like winning. Brentford deserved all 3 points, and that is what they got. Chelsea and Brighton, I predicted 3-1, but I went the other way. I went 3-1 to Chelsea. The story with this one, it's another red card for Chelsea. Chalobah saw red, down to 10 men, and Chelsea went on to lose the game. That's twice in 2 weeks. Enzo Maresca needs to sort this out. Whether it's accidental, like the Sanchez one is a bit, it's unfortunate. It doesn't matter. It's the decision making. They've put their team in a world of trouble. Danny Welbeck did get a brace for Brighton, and Decoy-Pierre got the winning goal for them as well. So a solid Brighton performance, especially in that second half when they were up against 10 men. The question that I have for any Chelsea fans that are listening, Enzo Maresca, is he the man to take you forward? Personally, for me, I'm unsure right now. A very lackluster start to this season. Leeds 2, Bournemouth 2. On this one, I went for Bournemouth 2-0. I really thought they'd continue this great start to the season that they've had. I mean, listen, Ellen Road, a point away from home, it's not a bad result. However, the manner of which they got this point, it will feel like a win to them. Leeds, for me, were the better side for majority of the game, but in the 93rd minute, we mentioned there was last minute goals this week. Krupi with a huge goal for Bournemouth and a horrible goal for Leeds United, who are going to need to get as many points as possible. This season's going to be a very difficult one for them to survive. Unfortunately for them, they've dropped 2 points here. They should have saw the game out. But this is the Premier League. If you're not clinical in front of goal and defend really well, you're going to drop points. And for them, it might lead to a relegation. But promising signs, though, from Leeds that they've got to hold on to these results. Manchester City 5, Burnley 1. I went for 5-0. This was one of the points I did actually get. And to be honest with you, for Manchester City, it was a decent start. But then Burnley coming back with Jadon Anthony and having a few more chances as well to maybe sneak ahead. But again, similar to Leeds, if you don't take your chances in this league, you're going to get punished, especially against Manchester City at the Etihad. So City got into gear. Second half, they were far better than they were in the first half. Núñez did put them ahead, put them out of sight, I'd say, before Erling Haaland provided the goods in the 90th minute. To anyone who triple captained him, to anyone that captained him in FPL, consider yourselves very lucky, because let's be honest, in the 90th minute, you were having a very difficult time with Erling Haaland, but he did provide the goods in the end. So Man City 5-1, comfortable, what you expect with Manchester City up against Burnley. Forest 0, Sunderland 1, a huge result for Sunderland. I went for 2-1 to Forest. I like Sunderland. They've had a very good start to the season, of course. They're right up the table. But for me, I looked at this and thought, Ange Postecoglou, he's going to have a good game. The fans are now going to really get behind him. He's going to beat Sunderland at home. just wasn't the case. Sunderland managed to not only get a clean sheet, but hold on to a 1-0 win, so a great result for them, as I say. But the cracks are beginning to show for Ange Postecoglou. I mean, listen, he's only just come in, but this is such a bad start. Forest in Europe. Forest looking to maintain Europe in the Premier League as well in terms of their league position. For me, I know it's early doors, but Postecoglou could be in a little bit of trouble if he doesn't start getting the results. Nottingham Forest owner, he is a tyrant that will get him out so fast. I mean, look, he got rid of Nuno, who definitely did not deserve to be sacked. So Forest with a lot of work to do if they want to get back into Europe this season and also have a successful time in the Europa League as well. Tottenham won, Wolves won. I went with 3-0 to Tottenham, so I got this one completely wrong, as I think a lot of people did. Tottenham at home, you'd think they'd have enough to beat Wolves, but Wolves were genuinely, in my opinion, the better team throughout the game, showing everyone in this league that they are prepared to fight for their place and they're not just going to be an easy team to play against every single week. Bueno, of course, got them the goal, but it was Palhinha that decided to ruin the party. 94th minute, another last-minute goal, and it absolutely crushed all of the Wolves' hearts because they played so well. They deserved the win, and similar to Leeds, if you give teams chances, they will capitalise. 2 points lost for Wolves. Before the game, a point, yeah, I'm sure they would have taken it. In the 93rd minute, I don't think they would have. So a disappointing way to end the game for Wolves, but a lot of positives to take. Tottenham have to do better. They should be getting 3 points against Wolves, let's be honest. Aston Villa 3, Fulham 1. First win of the season for Villa. I went with 2-0. This is where I got my other point from. But Villa managed to get the first win in the Premier League. A massive result for Villa. We really, really needed to just get 3 points on the board. It's not even been the worst start when you look back at it now. Yes, the goals were a bit of a concern, but 3 against Fulham here. Very, very promising. Fulham, I think they should have had 1 out of the 2 penalty shouts they had. The Matty Cash handball. I'm sorry, but if his arm doesn't block it, it's going into the bottom corner. So Fulham fans, I understand your grievances to this, and it should have been a penalty. The Josh King one, listen, that's never a penalty for me. He's going down far too easily and sort of just falls on Martinez. If he stayed up a little bit, the referee had a decision to make because Martinez just catch him, but not enough for me. But Fulham, of course, Jimenez got their goal. A nice goal that it was. A shame for them that he had to go off. But Villa, it's all about Emi Buendia, who changed the game. And then most importantly, out of everything for Villa, it's Ollie Watkins back on the score sheet. So a great day for Aston Villa. Back to winning ways. Still a way off it, but a good start to them in terms of kickstarting their season and pushing for Europe ourselves. Newcastle 1. Arsenal 2. Wow, what a game of football this was. So entertaining. I mean, let me know, where is your favourite place to watch a Premier League game that isn't your club? For me personally, anytime Newcastle are at home in the Premier League, the Champions League, I will watch it because the atmosphere, the way that they play, it's just so exciting to watch. And this was fully on display up against Arsenal. I went for 3-2 to Newcastle, which may seem a bit questionable at the start of the game. 3-2 to Newcastle. That's such a, a big scoreline for Arsenal to concede. But you could see it. Arsenal hit the post. Newcastle had some huge chances. So there was goals in this game, and the way that it went out, it was Voltemald that got the first goal. Lovely header. He is going to be a handful for any team to try and mark him. Gabriel bullied, but as we know, he got his revenge. It then went to 1-1. It was Marino, a lovely header, a lovely, lovely header into the bottom corner. Pope, who was superb, by the way, had no chance there. Absolutely no chance. And then, of course, the 96th minute, Gabriel, he got his revenge, as I say, a last-minute header. And genuinely, you talk about the Premier League being one of the most dramatic leagues in the world. This is the example. I mean, the St. James's Park, the loudest ground in England, I'd probably say, I'm going to be honest. The away fans all the way up in the heavens. All you could hear was just this sort of like quiet cheering, and Arsenal fans were loud, fair play to them, but this quiet cheering, and this whole stadium fell flat. It was genuinely, I would say it's poetic, unbelievable end to the game. And genuinely, I was sort of rooting for Newcastle in this game to at least get the point. Not to be. So, yeah, crazy, crazy game. That could have easily been game of the week for me. Of course, we'll get to it in a minute. I've gone for another one. But yeah, Arsenal 2, Newcastle 1. What a game. I was going to film this video on Monday and just say, look, listen, Everton, West Ham, a bit of a nothing game. No offense to Everton and West Ham, but I wanted to just get it filmed, get it out. And then we had the news that Nuno Espirito Santos is going to be the West Ham manager. So I thought I have to see what happens in this game now. So interesting. Before the news, I said Everton were going to win 2-0 against Graham Potter's West Ham, who have looked dreadful all season long. The actual score, it was 1-1. A very good game. First half, I'd say Everton were more on top. Second half, I'd say West Ham. But for Nuno, he'll be very happy that his team battled back from 1-0 down. It's a good point. They have a long way to go. He's beginning to understand who are his good players, who are his go-tos. Up against the David Moyes side, I would never like my first game in the Premier League to be away from home against the David Moyes team. So a decent turnout from West Ham. I'm very much looking forward to seeing them at home. A lot of empty seats the last couple of weeks. I'm hoping those seats are filled now because Nuno brings a new wave of excitement to West Ham, and I'm very excited to see how he does get on. Game of the week in the Premier League. It had to be Crystal Palace up against Liverpool. I went for 2-1 to Liverpool. I thought they'd just squeeze a victory out as they've done all season long, but it was the opposite. It was actually a last-minute goal that, as I say, we've seen from Liverpool all season long, but for Crystal Palace. What a game this was. Palace, to me, played it to perfection in terms of the game plan. They countered so well, but they didn't just counter and have half chances. They had some huge chances. And credit to both Alisson and Dean Henderson, because genuinely, some of the saves that were on display were unbelievable. So as I say, Palace were having chances, as were Liverpool, of course, but the Palace chance that sticks out the most to me, Mateta one-on-one, up against the best goalkeeper in the world for one-on-ones, to give him a bit of, credit. But Mateta has to score for me. He's got to put the ball in the back of the net, and he doesn't. In terms of Liverpool chances, Florian Wirtz had the chance to get rid of the 007 meme. He had a good chance. It was saved well by Henderson, but let's be honest, he should score that. 87 minutes on the clock, 1-0 to Crystal Palace. Chiesa scores, something that he's done quite a few times this season off the bench. Said he wanted to fight for his place. He's certainly doing that. At this point, you thought Liverpool have done it. And for God's sake, are they actually now going to go on to go and get the win and win 2-1? But it wasn't the case. Crystal Palace lump a ball forward. It bounces in the box. It breaks to Eddie Nketiah. Complete composure. Doesn't snatch at it. A striker that doesn't get much minutes behind Mateta. I was expecting him to maybe just try and swing a leg at it. No. Complete composure. Brings it down. Smashes it in. And genuinely, Crystal Palace fans, fair play to you. One of the best sets of fans in this league by a country mile. Fully on display, absolute scenes, deserved winners, I would say. Crystal Palace 2-1 against Liverpool, game of the week. Such a good game, such a great advert for Premier League football. This isn't a Farmers League. Anyone can beat anyone. What a weekend of Premier League football, topped off by Crystal Palace getting the job done against the champions, Liverpool.